right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're tackling the latest and greatest from Anthropic.
He's been busy.
They have. They just dropped some major upgrades to their Claude language models.
Big news in the AI world.
Huge. And this isn't just like, a typical software update. We're talking about AI that can use computers like a human.
The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
Seriously. We're using Anthropic's own announcement as our source material here, so let's get right into it.
Sounds good.
First up is the upgraded Claude 3.5 Sonnet model, and it's gotten a serious boost in capabilities.
Yeah, they've really leveled up the Sonnet model with this release. It's not just a few tweaks here and there. We're talking across-the-board improvements.
Especially impressive is the jump in its coding abilities.
Oh, absolutely. This thing's at a coding powerhouse now. It's outperforming other publicly available models.
Which is a big deal for developers, right?
Huge. It means they can build even more powerful and sophisticated applications.
And it's not all just theoretical. Companies like GitLab and Cognition are already using this upgraded Sonnet in their workflows.
And they're seeing amazing results.
Yeah. GitLab, for instance, found that the upgraded Sonnet delivered up to 10% stronger reasoning in their DevSecOps tasks. And get this all without adding any latency.
So it's not just smarter, it's faster too.
Exactly. It can handle those super complex, multi-step processes quickly and efficiently. To put those improvements into perspective, Sonnet went from 33.4% to 49% on the SWE bench coding benchmark.
Wow, those are some significant gains.
Definitely. And Cognition, they're using it for autonomous AI evaluations, and they've seen substantial improvements in, well, everything. Coding, planning, problem solving.
Compared to the older version?
Compared to the previous version, yeah. They gave Sonnet a whole new brain. But wait, there's more. Anthropic also introduced a brand new model, Claude 3.5 Haiku.
Okay, tell me about this Haiku model.
Well, buckle up, because this is their fastest and most affordable model yet.
Now that's intriguing, especially the affordability part. AI development can be quite expensive, so a more cost-effective option is always welcome news.
For sure. And the crazy thing is that even though it's designed for speed and affordability, it's still matching the performance of their previous, largest model, Claude 3 Opus.
Wow, so it's like they distilled all that power into a smaller, more efficient package.
Pretty much. And just like Sonnet, Haiku is a coding whiz. In fact, it's even outperforming the original Claude 3.5 Sonnet on certain coding tasks.
Impressive. It seems like they're hitting all the right notes with these new models.
Totally agree. This focus on speed and affordability is going to be game-changing, especially when you think about real-world applications. Haiku is going to be perfect for those user-facing apps where you need, super fast responses.
Right, where every millisecond counts.
And it's also going to be great for handling those massive data sets without needing a supercomputer. The best part is, Haiku is launching later this month, starting with text-only capabilities and then expanding to include image input.
Ooh! Image input capabilities that opens up a whole new world of possibilities. I'm eager to see what developers do with that.
Me too. But the biggest news, the thing that really blew my mind, is both of these new models can actually use computers.
Wait, hold on. Use computers how? Like type and click?
Exactly. We're not just talking about simple commands. We're talking about Claude being able to interact with a computer just like a human would, looking at the screen, moving the cursor, clipping, typing, the whole shebang.
You're kidding, right? That sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
I know. It's insane. And the way it works is really cool. Developers can use an API to give Claude instructions.
An API. So it's like giving it commands in a special language it understands.
Yep. And then those instructions are translated into actual computer commands that the AI can execute.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, it means Claude can, check spreadsheets, browse the web, fill out online forms, all autonomously.
Exactly. Think about it. This opens up a whole universe of possibilities for what AI can do. It's like having a digital assistant that can handle all those tedious tasks we'd rather avoid. But of course, this technology is still in its early stages, and Anthropic's been very upfront about that.
Right. It's important to remember that this isn't the finished product. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Totally. There are definitely some challenges they're still working through. For example, some actions that are really simple for us, like scrolling or dragging, are proving to be pretty tricky for Claude.
I can imagine. Those seemingly simple actions actually involve a lot of complex coordination.
Yeah, it's like the difference between understanding a concept and actually having the dexterity to carry it out. But even with those limitations, Claude 3.5 Sonnet is showing some incredible promise in its ability to use computers effectively.
How are they measuring that? Is there a benchmark for this kind of thing?
There is. It's called the AWS World Benchmark, and it's specifically designed to test how well an AI can use computers. And in this benchmark, Claude is performing exceptionally well.
Spill the tea. What kind of scores are we talking about?
Okay, so in the screenshot-only category, meaning the AI only has still images of the computer screen as input, Claude scored 14.9%.
That's impressive on its own, but is there anything to compare it to?
The next best AI system only managed 7.8%, so Claude's nearly doubling the performance. And when they gave Claude more steps to work with, meaning it could see a sequence of actions on the screen, its score jumped to 22.0%.
Wow. So it's not just understanding static images, it's comprehending the flow of actions and adapting accordingly.
Exactly. It's pretty remarkable. But as with any new technology, especially one this powerful, you have to wonder about the potential for misuse, right?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. Could something like Claude be used for things like spamming or spreading misinformation?
That's what I was thinking, but Anthropic's been very proactive in addressing those concerns. They've developed new classifiers that can detect when computer use is happening and, more importantly, whether it's being used for harmful
So
purposes.
it's like they're building in safety mechanisms to prevent malicious use.
Right. It's like having an AI watchdog that can identify and flag any suspicious activity. It's reassuring to see them taking a responsible approach to this.
Absolutely. It shows that they're not just focused on pushing the technological boundaries, but also on ensuring these tools are used ethically and safely.
It's a good sign. It makes you feel better knowing they're thinking about these things. It definitely seems like they're on top of things. It's great to see that kind of foresight from a company pushing the boundaries of AI. But we've talked a lot about the upgrades to Sonnet and the brand new Haiku model. Let's go a little deeper into this whole AI using computers thing.
Yeah, let's unpack that a bit more. It sounds incredibly complex.
It is. But the basic idea is that developers can use an API to give Claude instructions. Think of it as like a special language.
So instead of having to code every single action, like clicking a mouse or typing a keystroke.
Exactly. It's more about giving Claude higher level instructions and letting it figure out the mechanics.
So you could say something like, hey, Claude, open up that spreadsheet and tell me last quarter's sales numbers, and it would just do it.
Pretty much. No need to tell it how to open the file, where to click, or anything like that. It just gets the job done. Of course, we're still in the early stages here, but based on what Anthropic has shown us, it can already do some pretty impressive things.
Like what? What kind of tasks can Claude handle through this computer use API?
Well, it can navigate files and folders, launch applications, interact with web pages, things that up until now you really needed a human for.
So we're not just talking about basic commands here. It's actually interacting with the computer interface in a meaningful way.
Right. And to measure just how well it's doing, they've been testing Claude 3.5 Sonnet on something called the AWS World Benchmark.
OS world.
Yeah, it's designed specifically to evaluate how well an AI can actually use computers.
How's Claude doing?
Exceptionally well. In one category called screenshot only.
Screenshot only. What's it?
Well, in this category, the AI only gets to see static images of the computer screen. No video, no real-time interaction.
Ah, so it's like trying to figure out how to use the computer based on a series of snapshots.
Exactly. And even with that limitation, Claude scored 14.9%.
Wow. So it's already demonstrating a good understanding of how to navigate a computer interface even with limited information. Is there anything to compare that score to?
The next best AI system only managed a measly 7.8%.
So Claude's nearly doubling the performance of the competition. That's quite a leap. What about more dynamic situations, where it's not just looking at static images?
They tested that too. When they gave Claude more steps to work with, meaning it could see a sequence of actions on the screen, its score jumped to 22.0%.
So it's not just understanding static images, it's actually comprehending the flow of actions, like watching a video.
Exactly. It's pretty remarkable how it's adapting and learning. But, with any new technology, especially one as powerful as this, you have to think about the potential downsides.
Of course, the what-if scenarios. It's
What?
important to consider those.
Like, what if someone uses this for bad purposes? Could Claude be used for things like spamming or spreading misinformation?
Right, those are valid concerns.
And that's where Anthropic's focus on responsible development really shines. They've developed these things called classifiers.
Classifiers, what are those?
Think of them like AI watchdogs that can detect when Claude is using a computer.
Ah, so they can monitor what Claude's up to.
Yep. And more importantly, these classifiers can tell if that computer use is potentially harmful.
So they're not just releasing this technology blindly. They're building in safeguards to prevent misuse.
Exactly. They're even partnering with external experts like the US and UK AI safety institutes to do some serious testing before releasing anything to the public. It's good to know they're being so cautious.
It definitely instills confidence, that's for sure. But all this talk about AI using computers, it really begs the question, what does this actually mean for us in the real world? How is this going to change things?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's hard to even wrap our heads around the possibilities, but it's like trying to predict the future, isn't it? But I think if we look back at history, every time there's been a major technological jump, we've seen some pretty big changes to, well, pretty much everything.
Yeah, think about the internet.
Yeah.
Back when it was first becoming a thing, who could have predicted how much it would change? Like everything.
I mean, smartphones, social media, the way we work, shop, communicate, it's crazy.
Exactly. And I think we're at a similar point with AI, especially with these new capabilities from Anthropic.
It's like AI that can use computers like us. The possibilities are kind of overwhelming.
Totally. It could change so much about how we live and work.
Yeah.
Think about all the stuff we do on computers every single day.
Email, scheduling, research, designing things, even creative stuff like making art and music. It's a lot.
Exactly. And imagine if AI could handle a lot of that for us, not just as a tool, but like an actual partner.
So not just telling AI what to do, but AI understanding what we're trying to achieve and like anticipating our needs.
Right. Imagine you've got this super smart AI assistant that can not only schedule your meetings, but also like prepare the agenda, find all the relevant documents, and even suggest talking points based on, past conversations and stuff.
Wow, that would be incredible. It'd be like having a super-powered chief of staff or something.
Exactly. But it goes beyond just productivity, too. Think about how this could impact creative fields. Like, let's say you're a graphic designer.
Okay, yeah.
What if you could just describe your vision to an AI and it could create a bunch of different design concepts?
And then like make changes based on your feedback.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or imagine you're composing music and you have an AI that gets your style and can like suggest harmonies or melodies you might not have thought of on your own.
That would be amazing. But I can also see some people getting a little nervous about all this.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, people are already worried about AI taking jobs, and this could kind of accelerate that, right?
It's a valid concern for sure.
Right.
But I think it's more complicated than just AI replacing jobs. It's more about redefining them. Like, as AI gets better at doing the more routine, repetitive tasks, it frees us humans up to focus on things that really need those, human skills.
Like creativity, problem solving, things like that.
Exactly. Things that require critical thinking, empathy, complex decision-making. Those are things that, at least for now, AI isn't as good at.
So it's not so much about humans versus AI, but more like humans and AI working together.
Yeah, exactly. It's about using the strengths of both to do things we couldn't do on our own. But, like any new technology, there are risks we need to be aware of.
Absolutely. It's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah. One big challenge is making sure AI is developed and used ethically. Like, we have to be really careful about potential biases in the data that's used to train these models.
Right, because if the data is biased, the AI will be biased too. What about security? That seems like a big concern.
It's a huge concern.
Oh.
What if somebody, hacks into an AI that can control computers?
Yeah, the stakes are pretty high with something like that.
Absolutely. And it's not just about technical solutions.
Yeah.
We need to have conversations as a society about the ethics of all this,
Yeah.
about what kind of future we want to build with AI.
It's a lot to think about, but it's also pretty amazing that we're living in a time where this is even possible.
Totally. It's exciting and a little daunting at the same time.
Exactly. So listeners, what are your thoughts? What excites you? What concerns you about the future of AI?
Yeah, we want to hear from you. What role do you think you can play in shaping this future? Because it's not something that's just going to happen to us. It's something we're all creating together.
Well said. And that wraps up our deep dive for today. But remember, don't stop exploring these ideas.
Keep asking questions, keep learning.
And we'll be back next time with another fascinating deep dive.
See you then.